all we've heard from the Republicans ahead of this debate that's happening next week, which we will be covering here on the show live, is that Biden is like, how is he going to get through this? How is he going to form a sentence? How is he going to perform in a setting where he's going to have to articulate himself and go back and forth against Donald Trump? They've been setting the expectation that Biden is basically going to come out there and just poop and then leave or something like that. I mean, it's really, they couldn't be, I think, setting the bar lower, which is probably good news for Biden because he needs this.
It's helped him before.
Yeah, in order to turn around some concerning polling that we're seeing come out of swing states, although we'll get into that in a bit, why I do think there's some positive news on that front. But this debate will be next week in Atlanta. CNN is hosting it. No audience. The candidates' mics are going to be muted except when it's their turn to speak. Because if you recall one of those Trump-Biden debates where Trump, I don't know, they upped his Adderall dose maybe a little bit too much or something like that because he just couldn't stop interrupting, and it was a bad look. I also read that Ron Klain, Biden's former chief of staff, is going to be running the preparations for this debate, which is also good news, I think, for Biden, because one of the more under-discussed stories about the Biden administration is that when Ron Klain left as chief of staff, Jeff Zients took over, and that's when approval rankings tanked. That's when this disastrous response to Israel's genocide began. And Klain comes from politics. Jeff Zients comes from corporate America. And I think there should be more conversation about the fact that he doesn't seem to really know what he's doing from a political strategy perspective.
Let's talk about how the left is blowing this for Biden.
Right, instead. Right. Klain has basically been saying that Biden needs to focus more on kitchen table issues. So I'd expect that's going to be what Biden focuses on during this debate. But here's Donald Trump. He went on the All In podcast, and
a bunch of crooks.
This is what he said are his predictions for the debate, and he's changing his tone a little bit.
You have a prediction for the debate next week? What's going to happen?
Well, all I can say is this. I watched him with Paul Ryan, and he destroyed Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan with the water.
True.
He was chugging water at a left and right. I didn't think a human being would be able to drink so much water at one time. And he beat Paul Ryan. So I'm not underestimating him. It is what it is. We'll see what happens. But you take a look at the last one. I happen to think he's incompetent for a lot of reasons. I think he's incompetent because he has gotten the worst policies, both foreign policy and internal policy. I mean, who would not want to have a wall? Who wants to have millions of people pouring in? Who wants to have high taxes? You know, taxes are going to raise by 4 times if this guy has his plan.
Is he in cognitive decline? Do you believe he's in cognitive decline, Mr. President?
Well, I shouldn't be the one to say that, but I don't think he's doing particularly well. But I didn't think he was well 25 years ago. I thought he was not a smart person. And that was told to me by a certain member of the Kennedy family who was actually very friendly with me through a Palm Beach relationship. And I was told that very strongly. But so I was never a fan of his. But I will say he beat Paul Ryan. It was still years ago, but he beat Paul Ryan pretty badly. And I assume he's going to be somebody that will be a worthy debater. Yeah, I would say. I think okay. I don't want to underestimate him.
All right.
Well, you were for a really, really long time. So I think that, Bradley, you really have been saying this for weeks at this point, and you called it. The entire Republican Party could not be setting expectations lower for Biden, and you don't want a critical debate like this to have the floor be, the bar be on the floor, right? Because Biden will clear it. He is Trump's, he's a difficult candidate for Trump to attack because he's also a white guy, so he can't go to all the racist stuff. Republican voters are old too, so they're not going to love you're a doddering old man, and I'm just a few years younger than you, but I'm going to bully you about that. And Biden has a strategy, which I actually think is a pretty good one, where he just laughs in Trump's face. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're a little worried at this point. And polling, even though it's still quite bad for Biden, I do think there's some indicators that they're showing, once it gets down to crunch time, people are going to start to remember what Trump presidency was like.
But this is, as we were discussing, this is where Trump's bravado and braggadociousness AKA the primary strength with Republican voters for him becomes a huge problem, because when he gets activated, he's literally going to say Biden essentially has the cognitive ability of a 2-year-old baby.
Right.
And when Biden literally strings a sentence together, as I said earlier, I'll get the Nikki Haley tattoo if Biden does not string a sentence together at the debate next week. So you can mark me on that again. I will get the tattoo if Biden can't
String one sentence together. Right.
But those expectations that Trump has laid, that is, and also very clearly now, it's clarifying that clearly somebody on his team was like, hey, you need to maybe just a little bit raise the bar for Biden, so when he does in fact complete a sentence, we don't all look like complete morons, because we were previewing him literally not being able to remember his own name.
Yeah. We just got a great IM from Elon Jelk. I'm not sure what that means, but is a Palm Beach relationship code for a mutual friend of Jeffrey Epstein? I mean, kind of, right? A Kennedy, he knows a Kennedy who said Biden
is it Bobby, though, also?
It's probably Bobby.
Yeah, they
were mutual friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
Right. A Palm Beach relationship is a wild euphemism.
It really is.
I think that the reason that they are so excited to push the cognitive decline narrative is because they're looking for easy propaganda, which is a Biden freeze up moment that they could run on. And I think they could get that. I'm
they
less optimistic. And I think it could be bad. But I do want to say, this is where our independent media is. The All In podcast, a bunch of venture capitalists who did pump and dumps
in front of green screen that look like a boardroom. I don't know.
It suggested to me that JD Vance might be the vice president, because I haven't looked at it, but I guarantee he's been on the All In podcast. But Trump brought up tax policy, and immediately Jason Calacanis jumped in with, "Do you think President Biden's in cognitive decline?" Can we have an adult conversation about policy anywhere in this, or does it all have to be in this sort of vein of, is the old man very old? Yeah,
right.
These are old guys. Yeah, their brains are slowing down. Of course, this is just that's how brains work. But I mean, you have the opportunity to do something different, and you're doing the exact same thing that trash media is.
And it's notable that he's talking about taxes there, because Trump just got a $50 million donation to his Make America Great Again super PAC from billionaire Timothy Mellon, one of the wealthiest members of the wealthiest families in this country. I think that Trump is basically saying, I am open for business. He's desperate to get into power to quash the multiple legal quandaries that he's in right now, or squash them, whatever you want to use. And I think that he's basically like, I'll take it, whatever you want. I mean, we saw that story with Miriam Adelson, the widow of the biggest Zionist donor to Republicans, Sheldon Adelson.
The current richest Zionist in the world, Miriam Adelson.
Owner of the Dallas Mavericks. She wants to bring casinos to Texas, apparently, and that was her effort. And the Christians are saying no, which I hope that's a pebble in her shoe for the rest of her days. But yeah, I mean, she has said, it was reported, I will give you a bunch of money and donate a bunch of money to you if you promise to annex the West Bank when you get into power. And he was like, you say jump. Well, I can't really jump at this point. My vertical's not great, but I'll theoretically say how high.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.